Okay, so I just finished watching The Cardigan. I definitely am going to have to watch all of these through and really think about them to get the full deep meaning of them all. But it's clear that we're entering into a part of Taylor's life where, you know, she's owning the woman that she's growing into. And I think that it shows, I think society as women especially, but really just in general, you think that like it's these 20-year-olds, your 20s are the best times of your life. And it's your 20s where, you know, you're the greatest, and so on and so forth. But yet when you people dread your 30s, like that's over the hill, whatever. You know, we remember that Friends episode where Rachel hated turning 30. But yeah, at the same time, I think once you turn 30 or get into your 30s, you learn that it's amazing. You're learning yourself in a way you never have. And if you've really like adapted to the challenges that life has thrown at you, which again, everybody goes through different things, but I think if you adapt and you persevere and you again, you keep moving and you keep fighting for what you believe in and you keep fighting to be the person that you want to be, because at a certain part of it all, we get to choose who we want to be. So I think that's kind of what this is about. It's her realizing she's happy, realizing that she's settled, realizing, she talks about, you know, they think when you're young you know nothing, but again, talking about like all the things that she's learned. And you do know stuff when you're in your 20s, like you do. I knew lots of things that are very much true today. It's just that you don't necessarily have the confidence to really believe in yourself in that way. Sometimes, although we see with Taylor, she always has. I mean, that's kind of why I've always loved her. Like, she's always believed in herself, and yet she's always had morals. She's always had a direction, and she's always taken that seriously. And it's just been so inspiring to me. And I'm 32, so I'm 2 years older, or I guess, yeah, 2 years older than Taylor. 2 years and 2 months exactly, actually, because my birthday is September the 13th, which is why I always like the number 13. Not just because of Taylor. It's just something we have in common. But so that's why I've always liked her. Her albums are always helping me figure out what I was going through in that same kind of period of life. And I've always noticed that she's very, very mature and wise. And when I first saw her perform, she was so passionate and so open and so vulnerable. And I was just so inspired by that. And I remember thinking, like, if this girl just stays like this, doesn't give into the hoopla of Hollywood and go crazy, you know, I think I'm going to be a fan forever. And I was not a fan until I saw her live. And she keeps just inspiring me more, amazing me more, and helping me get through just some of the most difficult times of my life, and making me realize just my own specialness. And that, again, I'm the only one of me. We're all the only ones of us. And we all have our own special circumstances. And that's something I actually just talked to my therapist with. We talk about Taylor Swift a lot. I call it Taylor therapy. But I told her, like, what I realized with Taylor is, like, the only difference between Taylor and any of us is that, like, Taylor always believed that she could, so she did. And she never stopped working, she never stopped trying, and she just never gave up. And she believed that she could be awesome, and so she became awesome. And I think most of us, we give up. And so, I don't know. And I'm at the point in my life now, too, where I was talking to my therapist, I guess really I haven't given up yet, and I'm still striving to be the Taylor Swift of my world. So really I just want to, you know, change the system and make it better. But she gives me hope to believe in myself. And I think sometimes, especially now at 30, like, we sometimes, as young people, we see all these people on social media, especially, like, you know, people like Taylor Swift or even the younger influencers, and we see the success that they have at such a young age. And, like, but that's because they chose a career path where success starts at a really young age. And in fact, for a lot of them, what you'll see is the flip side. It gets much, much harder for them to continue succeeding. Although Taylor will succeed forever. There's no doubt about that. But, like, again, for the rest of us professionals, like, we have to go through school. Like, I can't just be a lawyer overnight just because at 15 I decide I want to be. And so, and even after law school, you can't just go be an amazing lawyer. I mean, I guess the lawyers who argued Roe v. Wade kind of did that right out of law school. But that's the point is you have to develop your skills. And so really for most of us, I think that translates into just always believe in yourself, man. As long as you're living, as long as you're breathing, you can always learn, you can always grow. And I think that again goes a little bit more than this song. I guess we'll see if that's even consistent with the album, but that's just kind of what it is in the thoughts that are transpiring from this. Again, not that anybody asked, but that's just my cup of tea.